Hello, and welcome to the Special Needs Sibling Podcast, where we talk about what life is really like as a sibling to someone with special needs. I'm your host, Charlene, and today we have a return guest, Anastasia. Welcome back to the podcast.
Thank you, Mr. Kater. Thank you. Glad to be back.
Yeah, it's so exciting. So for those of you who don't know, Anastasia was originally on episode 2. She was guest number 1. So if you want to go check out our first conversation, go listen to episode 2. And this episode is special because it's our 1-year anniversary. It's our first birthday. Woohoo!
Yay!
Yeah. And so for our birthday, we're going to have a birthday party. So instead of doing open forum like we normally do, we're going to play games. Yay!
And what is the best game of all? Sharing your feelings.
Yeah. I'm deciding whether to do a woohoo or like a maniacal laugh with a person like petting a cat in the background. I can't decide which way I want to go.
I'm saying we go Dr. Evil all day. Just toxic number 1.
I'm all for that. I just need a kitty now. But so the game we have prepared today for all of you to listen in and play along with us is called Wheel of Feelings.
Yes. So essentially, the feelings wheel, which is something that a lot of therapists use, love it. It gives you an opportunity when you're feeling certain things. It goes into those details and breakouts. But we have like just the simple ones or that first little spin of the wheels with a couple of good old feelings on there. And we are going to spin it. And we're going to then tell a story that relates to our experience with our sibling, our family dynamic. With that emotion, we do have an option to skip one time, just once, only once.
Yeah, like a respin. Yeah.
Yes. But the feelings wheel will be in the link for the podcast so that you can, on your own personal time, explore that because it's really awesome.
Yeah, and we like made a cheat version for this game because obviously if you look at the wheel, there's lots of emotions. So
a lot of emotions.
Yeah, we picked some for this game. So we we got like more like focused things. But yeah, definitely go check that out. It's a really good resource, whether you're a sibling or not, or just like a human who has feelings. You should go check that out. And
yes.
It's really helpful just in putting words to how you feel. It's really helpful. So we're going to do 3 rounds of what Anastasia just described, where we're going to spin, do stories, and then we'll have like a special final round. So with that, Anastasia, can you please spin the wheel?
Why, yes, I can.
Excellent.
It's a spinning. Oh, judgmental.
Oh, geez. Okay. I was like, I can go so many places with that. I will just go with the first thing that came to mind. So let me start the timer so we're, not totally going overboard. Okay. So let me hit start. Okay. So I'm going to say judgmental is the feelings that I have of other people when I'm with my sister. The judgment is not upon her, it is upon the rest of the world. For anything that they do. Yeah, I definitely believe as a child, up until probably middle school is definitely when I was the most judgmental of everybody else. Right? All my quote unquote friends are just people you go to school with, or even if you go to a mall, right? We've all been in that experience where you're in a public place and your siblings just doing their regular stuff and other people look at you like you're psychotic or what the heck. And even, right. And it's one thing for your sibling to throw a tantrum. It's a different thing where if my sister is just stemming on some ribbon that she found that in the car, right? That's just her being she's just doing her thing, but
yes.
Yeah. So the judgment upon others is very wrathful. It's inside. Yeah. It's definitely I think with age that does calm down. I will say I think that's just a natural progression, but definitely my judgmental story is just in a public location between the ages of 5 and 15.
Yes, I definitely understand that.
short and
now we can
sweet,
just
but
judge
to the
people.
point. Yeah.
No. But listen, the good thing is now we can judge people just because humans suck. So
Yeah.
when we were younger, we couldn't
Yeah.
fully like we couldn't pinpoint the was like, why is it that you guys are just and so yes, but oh
Yeah.
wow. Yeah,
Yep.
good. Yeah, that's a good one for sure. I understand that.
Start. Yeah. Yeah. I'm excited for what the wheel's gonna give us today.
Oh goodness.
All right.
It's coming in real hot right now.
I
So yes.
know. It's exciting. All right. Your
All
turn.
right. My turn. Be nice to me, Will. Oh.
Oh, I'm excited. Your facial expression is
Oh, furious.
Oh, all right. It's gonna be a hot take today. Yeah.
Furious.
Coming in hot. Coming in hot.
Where do I begin?
Okay.
Circa 1995. No, so I will tell you, there has been many times that I have been furious with the environment that we had for my brother. But I think the biggest thing that comes to mind right now when I think about it just as a whole, at this point now we're all adults. And obviously, my life and my brother's adult life look totally different. And I think that one of the reasons why I really started to get this extra layer of being like furious and upset with my parents was because I feel like, I know what job I had as a sibling and an older sibling for a special needs child, but as parents, you guys are supposed to do it the next level because that's your baby.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, your
And
parents.
so absolutely. And so for me, I think that I am most furious because I feel like my parents didn't and still haven't done the best job at setting him up to succeed independently, which is important. This whole stigma of where I'm going to always be there for my child, that's not true. You know what I'm saying? My mom is like 33 years older than my brother. Seriously.
Yeah.
My mom's in her 60s. My brother isn't even 30 yet. If we just do the math, you're going to be gone at some point, and he's going to still be here.
Yes.
And so for me, it I feel like that responsibility ends up lying to the siblings, if the parents didn't set that child up to prepare themselves to live alone and what that looked like and being independent. I think that they've done some stuff and my mom has tried, I think, but I feel like when you're in that position where you have a child that has special needs, it's important. And I'm saying this to the listeners, it's important to always advocate 100% for your child. Find programs for your child. There's programs out there in every state. Bigger cities, they have it a lot more, but like programs for them to be able to teach them how to, with their social skills, social cues, just the best they can, teaching them how to do certain things independently without any issues and stuff. So yeah, I think that was thinking about that. And I think that, to wrap that up with that thought is that they have this awesome show on Netflix called Love on the Spectrum. And I remember when I watched the first season and it was the US based, I remember just being so even more furious in that moment. Like it just kind of almost was like it rekindled that wound.
Yeah, it's like triggering
your
past traumatic experiences.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Because all I thought about was like, why the hell have we not tried to get him into one of these programs? Like he could have done this kind of stuff in the summer. Like all these things that could have happened, and stuff. So it's just, I get upset all over again. And it's like, so, but yeah, no, for sure. And things, at this point, because we're all adults, we have these opportunities as adults and I have more, obviously control environment. So
yeah,
I do a little bit more than what I can, what I'm saying, to ensure like, okay, at some point, once that time comes, you're going to be okay. We'll figure this out,
Yeah.
But yeah, that right there makes me quite furious.
Yep. That is very understandable. I'm with you on that. Yeah.
Absolutely. All right, girl. It's your turn again.
I know. I was like, let us see what is dealt. What is dealt by the wheel.
Be kind.
Or amusing, I guess that's
yes.
Yeah.
Oh, you get some interesting ones. Overwhelmed.
Oh, like this morning? I don't know. Like Oh, geez. I have to pick one? Uh,
Yeah.
over. Oh, okay. No, I'll go. Okay, I got one. Okay. So I think, like, overwhelmed, I think anytime that my family, like, we went on vacation, particularly when we got older, I was
Mm-hmm.
very overwhelmed because
Mm-hmm.
it was this like navigation game, but like in
Yeah.
real time that I could not,
Yeah.
I can't pause it like in a regular
No.
console, right? Like, so it's this thing where I'm trying to have a good time. I'm trying to like see if my sister's having a good time. My parents are like doing whatever they got to do right as parents and like themselves. And so it's like this trifecta of like, how do you appease everyone? But like you're
Mm-hmm.
on vacation and it's like, and it was so overwhelming because it's this thing where there was this time when we were at Disneyland. And so we're like walking around, right? It's like 90 degrees or whatever, which is fine. It's LA, right? So it's like not that surprising. But then my
Right.
sister's like, so I made her like a PEX ring of like for all the rides because she can't tell me what they are, but she recognizes characters and she's been there, so I can like have pictures. So make her this PEX ring. She picks a Finding
Right.
Nemo ride. She's like, "Oh, I want to ride this ride." I'm like, "Okay, then." Then my mom goes, "Oh, like I don't want to ride that ride," and I was like, "Oh, okay." Like, no one asked. I was like,
This wasn't okay. Yeah.
yeah, and so
Thank you
I
for
was
sharing
like,
that.
yeah, and it was hard because it was like we had agreed previously on this trip, like that particular instance when we were going to Disneyland was so that she could pick the ride she wanted to ride,
Right.
right? And there's a whole long story about why that is, but like it was just I was just like you I can't do right. I was like, and so I
Yeah.
said, "You're free to like go do something else. I'm gonna ride this ride with her and get in line. You're welcome to
Right.
like come back later." But then
Yeah.
she decided to ride the ride and take a nap on the ride. I was
Oh my
like,
gosh.
I, I yeah,
Yeah. It's like
I,
almost having another child. That's what
a
it
little bit.
yeah. Yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yes. I know.
I,
I know.
I, I'm not even. I'm like, that's the end of the story. I'm like, no, like, but yeah, like you. I
Yeah.
can't.
Oh yeah. I understand. I overstand that. It's like, okay, well, I am so glad that I'm not the parent. Oh wait, you are the parent. Oh my God. I was wondering who was the parent. Okay, so now that we've established who's the parent, explain to me why I'm taking the full
Yeah, like
responsibility of
I'm
this.
no, exactly. Like I don't. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Oh, beautiful
uh,
things.
yeah,
Yes, yes.
it's
It is I think being overwhelmed is
uh,
it's a very good, there's a lot of stories,
yeah.
but it's interesting that you say that because
Mhm.
one of the things I find that we have in common with this is that a lot of our overwhelmed scenarios and moments were
Mhm.
stemming from our parents not taking the upper step that they needed
Mm.
to take that off of us. So it's
Yeah.
kind of like,
Yeah.
okay, so I'm dealing with, sibling, and
Mm.
then I'm dealing with mom or I'm dealing with dad. And it's like, yeah, I got
I,
this. Sure. I'm just 15 fucking years old, but yeah, I got this. It's just,
yeah. I'm trying to live
God
my like
damn.
regular teenage girl life where like you just have
Oh my gosh.
regular 15-year-old girl problems,
Yes.
right? Like it's
Yes.
not even like I just want to
What
be
are we talking?
15.
It's
Yeah.
like, this is why people say you're way more mature for your age. It's like, okay,
That's
thank
the
you.
we should on the wheel should can we add that to our frustrating hearing the line uh
You're
oh
so
my gosh.
mature. I was
Oh,
like, oh, yeah,
yeah. Yeah.
you,
Yeah. Like
you,
you think I take that as a compliment? I take it that as a
I think,
curse.
no,
Don't
no,
remind me that I'm living my life.
no, absolutely.
Yeah.
Like, at the end of the day,
Yeah.
sorry, the thing, at the end of the day, you think that it's not bothering you. And then there's random moments that happen throughout your
Yeah.
adolescence and then young adulthood
In
where
your adult life. Yep.
you're just like, fuck, okay, this is
Yep.
really, I see this was a bothersome situation.
Yep.
So yeah,
And thank goodness
yeah.
for therapy.
Oh goodness. Shout out
Yeah.
to all the
That's
therapists. right
Yes.
now. Shout out to all the therapists. Shout out to all the
100%.
therapists that are helping adults deal with their child. Shout out to all the therapists that have helped me deal with 7-year-old Anastasia. Like, what are we doing? So yes. So I got resentful. It's like, it's so, I love how my feelings are all, I love how all of my feelings are feelings of anger. It's almost like the wheel is tapping into my energy, but that's okay. You know,
it's a great time though. It's fine. It's fine. That's why it's a game. Like we don't know what's gonna spit out. Okay.
Yes. So, this is interesting, but I feel like it was the first like thought when that word came up to me. So I feel like it's necessary to share because I always feel like when it's necessary to share, that means that there's somebody else that will be listening and will resonate with them and they need to hear that.
Yeah.
So I was subconsciously resentful of a lot of my close friends in high school that had younger siblings. And they were just able to all kind of like coexist together. There was no actual responsibility on my friends for their younger siblings. And so I did not really come to that terms and realization of that I was experiencing resentful behavior towards some of these friends until I started, obviously, in my younger 20s when I started going to therapy and really just starting to talk out a lot of the pain and guilt that I felt that was tied to, the dynamics of me and my brother. And I had one friend where we were very close, growing up, and just being able to see them, be an older sibling to their, their sibling and just having fun and when that sibling was going through something or breaking down, they could just walk away. They don't have to assess the situation, get it right. Like they could just like, oh, your sister's having a bad day. Okay, well,
that sucks. Yeah. And then like move on.
And when I'm saying, my brother's he's struggling today, or my brother's having a moment, it's like there was not really any friend out of my circle that could help me get through that.
Yeah.
And I think that was what was very hard for me was I didn't really gain a actual, I don't want to call it a support group, but yeah, you need to have a support group. My version of a support group didn't happen until I was grown.
Yeah.
And then that's when I started, looking at, forums online and stuff like that, doing my own personal thing just to make sure like, God, I'm not crazy, and stuff. But I will tell you that in wrapping up to that feeling, that you in this podcast was extremely instrumental for me to kind of really heal from that resentment. Being able to hear that, you always think like you're just so special and you're going through all this trauma all by yourself, and no one else is dealing with trauma like you because you're the main character. Right. But surprise, surprise, like 20 miles away, there's somebody doing the same thing with their sister, or like, 1,000 miles away, there's somebody going through that with their, siblings. And so, yeah, I think I advocate for anybody that is caring for a sibling, someone that you love that has special needs, to advocate. I advocate for you to find a group, find a forum, find an online, find a podcast, find something that will ground you to help you remember that the journey that you're going through, although it's not always beautiful, you are also experiencing this the same real time as many other people across the world. And that is important. I can't express that. That was a true healer for me to be able to like listen to, some of the episodes that you've had with other people and like their, just their journey, and also gave me some really good helpful tips, with us getting older. And me being conscious to know that I will always make sure that my younger brother is okay. And as we get older, our bodies get older, and and sometimes your body does not care. Hey, my baby brother, he's gonna need a little help. So yeah. So yes. All right. Look at that. What, 55 seconds to spell.
I know.
All right, let's spin this wheel.
So this is round 3. So this is our last round of this version, and then we'll do like special round after. Okay.
Yes.
let's see what it dishes out.
Oh, valued.
Oh, that's a turn. That's a good one.
Mm-hmm.
I'm
It
glad
is a
we
good
put
one.
that in there. Oh,
Yes.
I was like, oh man, that.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think. Like, I have them, but it's one of those like. There's stuff that I want to keep for me,
Of
right? Then there's stuff that we
course.
keep for us, and then there's stuff that like I can release to the
Yeah.
outside world.
Absolutely.
Um, okay.
They don't need to know
I
all our
guess
business.
I'll throw out my therapist hat,
Oh, right.
which will be good.
Well,
Yeah, yeah.
yes.
I think valued. I think like in therapy, like when I'm working with like my little Charlene, right? I think
Mm-hmm.
that's been a big like way that I can value myself. Like
Yeah.
in like sitting and spending time with her, right? Using the tools that I've learned that I'm learning in therapy from my therapist, right? And like we work on it all the time, and right, and really like working on that has let me as like my adult Charlene that's talking to you
Mm-hmm.
right now, right? Like
Mm-hmm.
giving my little Charlene value and like sitting there, like listening to her stories and like doing like her favorite activities and like
Yes.
eating her favorite snacks and like doing all those things and really like prioritizing her has given her value and therefore like
Mm-hmm.
my adult self value. And I think that's been like that, like no one can give me that.
Oh God,
Right.
no.
And then I
No.
think, one of the things that we are talking about earlier, right, was like our parents and kind of like where they're at and like what they can facilitate, whatever, right? And that's the thing, like as a kid, like in general, right, like as a kid you want that value and for the most generic general part, like your parents help facilitate that, but
Mm-hmm.
in other
Mm-hmm.
scenarios, right, like that's not easy, right? And some
No.
people are more fortunate, some people are more unlucky, there's all these
Oh
caveats,
yeah,
but
of course.
I think, yeah, the value is like after I started really working on it as an adult in therapy, like that's probably been the
Mm-hmm.
most value I have ever received and given myself. And like, and it's nice because it comes from me, right? And I
Absolutely.
think that's the big thing. I'm not dependent on somebody else from the outside. I think for a long time growing up, I was always looking on the outside, like, oh, I'm
Mm-hmm.
gonna get it from my sister because she's dependent on me, or like I'm gonna get it from my
Right.
parents because I'm just a regular kid. I'm gonna get it from my
Right.
friends. I'm gonna get it from my teacher, so I'm gonna do like super well in school. I'm gonna
Yeah.
like
Yes.
get it from my aunts, uncles, my grandparents, right? Like I was always striving to like get value from somebody, but like at the end of the day, like they can't give me that value that
Mm-mm.
I that yeah, like yeah, as a kid it's one thing, but yeah, as an adult, like I can't keep doing that. Right? Like
Of
there's a
course
certain
not.
point in time where like it's not their job. And so I think that's
Yes.
my feel about that.
I
Yeah.
love it. Absolutely.
Yeah.
And you said something that was so beautiful. How you have really been actively doing the things that, young Charlene wants to do.
Hmm.
And I want you to know that that is one of probably hands down one of those beautiful lessons I have been introduced to from my previous therapist and have
Hmm.
been actively working on because, one of the big things that me and you specifically have in common
Hmm.
is the placement of the dynamics of our siblings, right? So we're
Hmm.
the oldest siblings,
Yeah.
and so it's interesting because I always have such an interesting way of that. Like, so there is five of us for my dad, but with my mom it's just three of us. And
Hmm.
so I grew up with just my mom's set of kids. You know what I'm saying? We
Hmm.
all grew up in the house together. And that was typically how every sibling was, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And so
Yeah.
for me in that household, despite the fact that in my dad's wheel of fortune, I fell as a middle child technically,
Hmm.
with as my responsibilities in my life, even to this day, you know what I'm saying? I have always been the oldest,
Yeah.
and so there's a level of protection that we just didn't have because we were the oldest. And our parents kind of like, oh, in general, right? Just in general, they would have been like, we would have been an afterthought because it always is like, the more children you have, the more you put it into the younger ones. But with also putting that special cherry on top of having both of us having younger siblings that are special needs, it's like, okay, if there's any capacity of bandwidth of any patience, it's going to him from my parents. So it's like, so we get in this thing where we kind of try to be, we want to make the people around us happy. So you say like, your aunts, your uncles, your grandparents. So you don't want to rock the boat.
Right.
You want to make things as simple as possible. I get it. And the reality is that no, that's not your responsibility. That is not your job as a child to do that. It is not your job it's not your job to not rock the boat. I encourage all children, rock that damn boat, rock it. Because this is what helps parents get into that mindset of understanding the dynamics and preparing you for the real world. And so one of the best things that I have been able to do for myself as an adult is to just do random stuff that young Anastasia, 8-year-old, 9-year-old Anastasia wanted to do that she couldn't because of, whatever and stuff. And I love it. So yes, that was, I love that was your value because it's beautiful. It's beautiful and it's essential.
Yeah. Yes.
It's essential. It is essential. So
essential.
All right. Watch the wheel give me something real, just sad. Like,
I know.
Oh my God.
Did it.
Disappointed. I am going to take, since this is my last independent one, I'm going to use my free spin because use the free spin. That's I'm gonna use my free spin because and I know technically some of the stuff we've got on here is already just kind of like
it's okay. It's okay.
It's sad.
That's why we built it in like that.
This is true. Oh, it gives me now. Jealous.
Oh yeah. All right.
Oh my goodness. My emotions are very interesting today. Jealous.
Yeah, I know.
Withdraw. Okay. So for jealous, oh gosh, I it's weird. I hate to keep going back to like, my friends. I promise to all my other friends out there that don't have like, this area and they cannot relate with me and my good friend Charlene. I'm sorry. I'll keep picking on y'all, but it's not your fault,
No,
but I was jealous. Oh God. I used to have random jealous moments of just seeing my friends with siblings. And I struggle with this in middle school, in high school, and then probably like the first 2 years of college. And then it just was like, okay, Anastasia, this was not serving you. And this is before I even started therapy, but I knew it didn't serve me and it didn't make sense. And to be fair, it wasn't like I was seeking out, like I have no problem with seeing people around me happy and living their life and having a good relationship with their family. But I think for me, what was hard because I felt like, because of who my brother was and the value that he added to my life personally, I felt he deserved everything he wanted. So he deserves it was hard for me really when I was in high school because he was at that age where he was getting older and technically some of my friends had siblings around the same age as him. So I'm seeing what my friends' siblings are doing and I'm jealous because I'm like, he should be, on a soccer team or he should be in a little league or he should be actively, really doing things or he should have, I remember sometimes coming over to my friend's house and like we'd be over there and then their siblings would have friends over. Like all the siblings would have at least 1 or 2 friends over just all hanging out in the house. And I'm like he deserved, I was jealous of the fact that there were people of his age that had best friends and had a crush and the crush maybe like them, or they would get phone calls from like their friends. Like my brother didn't experience that, growing up, there was an age gap between us, but I was still around and in the picture very heavily. and well into his adolescence in high school and stuff like that. And it was like all of the things that I experienced. And there was even a part of it like jealous of, if you can even really be jealous of yourself, just jealous that he did not have that opportunity. Like whether I wanted to date somebody, I still had that window open to meet somebody if I wanted, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, right.
So yeah, I think that was really hard for me. I always wanted him to have more of a fulfilled life than what he was having. And so seeing other people of his age group around would make it hard sometimes because I would just be like, geez. And not to say like they don't deserve it. Like like one of it. It's just, it's unfortunate. It's like one of those things where anytime there's a lack in someone you care about and you know that there's not anything that you can do and all the money in the world won't change that said lack.
Right.
It's upsetting, you know?
Yeah, it is.
And it's not like there's like a certain, like, if you have enough money, you can take a pill each month and surprise, surprise. He's no longer autistic. It's like, no, it's not like, you know what I'm saying? So, yeah.
That person would be making a lot of money if that person existed.
Oh, God, yes. Well, we're talking about banking.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It's like, shut up and take my money. So, but yeah. And so that was, that was an interesting emotional hurdle to get through and stuff. And sometimes I struggle with it. Every now and then, that little jealousy seed will come out and stuff. And then I have a conscious conversation with myself of like,
which is great. Yeah.
Yes. It's important. Check yourself. If you can't check yourself, you can't grow.
Yeah.
Thank you for coming on TED Talk. All right. So our wonderful audience can know what is about to happen now. So we have just now experienced our own individual personal stories with these said emotions. We're about to do our final spin. And with that wonderful final spin, we will be sharing a story. Like we will use the same emotion, but share different stories. Yeah. So yes, on that note, I hope it gives us something. Like, can we get courageous? Like, can we get something positive?
Yeah.
Oh.
Is it not?
Oh, no. Pressured guilty.
Respin.
Oh, pressured guilty is what we're gonna do. You want to try to spin it again?
Remember, I'm gonna use my respin on that.
Okay, there we go. Because we did have one more here. Come on, courageous. I feel like a game show.
Just not. Yeah, I don't want to do guilt today.
Yeah, no, not today.
Yeah.
Okay. This is a good one. Shocked.
Oh, okay.
Good or bad?
Yeah.
So that's
right. Yeah, we're not doing guilt. Shocked.
Yes. Well, it was. I feel like we had courageous, and then it was right between that and shocked, good or bad. But I think shocked is a good one.
That's a good one. Okay, yes. So I have one. So awesome. You want me to go first?
Do your thing.
So remember how earlier I said, there's a reason. There's a longer story about why we went to Disneyland, and and then we had her pick everything. So now I have a reason to tell this backstory because it's related. So what happened was we had gone the previous year, and so that year we didn't know what was going to happen. We hadn't gone in a long time and stuff, so we're trying to wing it. I'm trying to do the thing where. Regular people do this where you kind of plan out, I want to ride these rides in these orders, and you kind of you look at the times on the how long is the wait, you get your fast pass, that's regular people who go to Disneyland. So
of course,
what happened was at some point she kept saying the word boat, and I'm okay, so we ride every boat ride possible, right? We're riding Pirates of the Caribbean, Jungle Cruise, Small World, name a ride with a boat, we're on it, right? And so we ride all of them, and she's still boat, and I'm there are no other boats. I don't know what to tell you, right? And so we're in line for lunch because that's just so we're in line and she's talking about it, and I was what the heck are you talking? So I pull out the map, and I'm what are you talking about? And then she points at the Mark Twain boat, the really big white one that's on the map as a landmark thing. And I'm that's the boat. And then I was sitting there, I'm like, wait, she can read the map? Like, when did she have time to look at the map? Like, did I have it out? I don't even remember at that time, I don't know if they even had like the Disney, like the app versus like you had to actually still use paper, right?
Right.
And I remember I just sat there and I was like, wait, like she can correlate the map with ride. Like she understands that if the boat is on the map, she can ride it.
Nice.
And I was like, wait, that means she can pick the ride.
Yes.
So after that, I spent that time, between then and the next time we went, like looking for stuff that she like could understand, like was related to the ride. And I was like, if she can read the map, and it's tiny, right? Like her eyesight's not like that great, but it's like even regular people have problems, right?
Yes.
So I was like, yeah, so that's like why I made the PEX ring to begin with. But I was like, oh, like, so that was a happy shock. And I was like, oh, like because that changed everything.
Oh, yeah, it was a game changer.
Because it's like, I don't
now
have
we know how to maneuver. Yes.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And then she has a choice now. It's not this like, oh, like, does she like it? Does she not? Is she going to throw a tent? Right? Like she picks. Right. I'm like, okay, we're going. Like it doesn't.
That's what yeah. I love it. I love it. Yeah, that's dope. For sure. Okay. For sure. Yeah. And stuff. And Disney, do better. Make better. Because as someone who is blind myself, I take my glasses off. I'm like, whoa, what's happening?
Yeah,
I can't see where I'm coming or going. But yeah, Disney, do better on the L. Yeah, that's a conversation for another time. Okay, so awesome. All right, so shocked. I am going to do, because it's important, and it's important to leave on a positive note. So I'm going to do a good shocked. Okay. I just want to shout out to my brother. He's a real rock star. I love him. Yeah. He's he's amazing. But he has done a lot of things since we've gotten older that has shocked me. But I have to say that just to give you a small backstory, which I know we've talked about in the first episode, when my brother was very young, he might have been at this point, maybe kindergarten, first grade. Or it could have been second grade. It was a very young, the beginning steps of the ingestion of schooling. And so his teacher at the time was, I think my mom was still kind of going through that, what it looked like of him having autism. And, what I'm saying? There's obviously no playbook, but, the teacher was just honest, hey, literally in the nicest way, she was just hang this shit up. You know what I'm saying? He is not even going to graduate from high school, let alone talking about college and be successful. So, you guys need to wrap your head around that and figure out what that looks like for y'all. And I just, for me being a child, you hear this from someone who is an educator and you just believe it because they're educator. You don't take into account that they're also a human being that's also flawed, and says also shout out to the teachers that encourage children of all spectrums to be themselves and to flourish and be successful. Big ups to y'all, because that's a hard job. And boo to the teachers is just if you're any slight inconvenience, you're not gonna be anything in life. Please, it's 2024. Let's stop that narrative. Children are sponges. It doesn't matter what's going on with them. Yeah. And we need to understand that as adults, they look to us, and so anyways, off that little tangent. But my brother, back in what was it? 2021? Yes, 2021. My brother graduated from college, from a community college out in our hometown area. And he got his associates. And when I tell you, I think that, when I went to that graduation, I am absolutely certain that I was crying and bawling out way more than my mother ever could, because, he was my baby. He was my he was my little baby. And so me vividly remembering, I remember when he graduated from high school, it took him a little bit, he went the untraditional route with schooling in general. And I say, you know, big ups to that. Do it. Everybody's getting to the market. Get there however you need to get there. And so I was very proud of him when he did graduate from high school. That was really awesome. And I was very proud. But knowing when he graduated from college and just seeing some of the grades that he received, knowing he was doing this on his own, I was like, whoa, you mean to tell me, okay, so you got some noggins clicking up there. And that was like, it was a beautiful shock. And what it was is that it really just helped me see like, okay, I just think that, you know, the way that we have kind of like painted you is that you're almost like a vegetable. And it's just like, that was so unfair to you to not even believe that you could accomplish anything. You know what I'm saying? And so me seeing him do these certain milestones and just interacting with people and just watching him be a young man, it's like, oh, it's such a good shock because it makes me happy. Like anytime I see him with any sense of independence, anytime, like any just simple stuff, I just see him being independent or trying to figure out what that looks like to be an adult. Like I just get emotional because I'm just like, oh my God, I'm just so shocked that this is, I didn't see it. You know what I'm saying? We were told that wasn't going to happen. So it was, that was my good shocks. I love when he shocks me. It makes me shocked and proud at the same time.
Yeah, that's always a fun one.
Yes. So yes. Oh, the feelings wheel. It was so nice.
It was kind to us today. That was a fun.
It was absolutely fun. So yes. So going back now, we have done the wonderful wheel and we've expressed our feelings. Yes. So this is a birthday party and there's games. But you know, outside of games, my favorite thing of a birthday party is the presents. So that leads us to the wonderful present of all, then versus now, because the best gifts of all is what? Growth. So yes. Yes.
All right. I guess I'll use a timer for this too, just so make sure we're like not, you know, totally derailed.
Yes.
Okay.
Absolutely.
So I guess I'll go first. Yeah. So I think, well, the podcast exists. It's been 1 year. So, you know, that's a before and after.
Yay.
Yeah.
I'm just a baby.
Yeah. So I think it's crazy because it's like, I didn't know what was going to happen when I started it, but I don't think I could have foreseen like people I've met around the world and people who are like, I don't know, are like, hey, like, you know, they'll either say like, thank you, or like they've agreed to be on it because I've cold called, right? Like it's, I don't think, right? Cause it's just like, you hear those things on the news where it's like, oh, like this girl like messaged this other girl, and they like became billionaires or whatever, right? And obviously that's a very extreme example, but like, it's just, but people will do it. I think it's been so good. Like, just talking to other people and like, knowing that like what we talked about a lot earlier, right? Like you're not alone, you're not delusional, you're not psychotic. Like we're all bearing the same burden of like different, and obviously like there's different people have different levels of like traumatic experiences, but like still like it's so crazy that you can talk to someone like that you've never met, know nothing about, you just know they're a sibling. You're like, it's magical. Like I think that I didn't see that, and I think like with that being said, I think even in our friendship, like it's evolved into like a different level that would not exist and can't exist because like we're just siblings, right? Like there's stuff that we can talk about or address because we know that that's like the underlying current, instead of just being like a regular, you're just being hard to work with, or like, like it's not those things. It's like there's all these like undercurrent things that we share, and it's like it's been so interesting in like how our friendship has changed in that way versus before we had known, before this podcast existed.
Yes.
When we were just regular friends like that we just met. Absolutely. And then we were just regular. Yeah. So I think that's, I feel like that's like the highlight reel. It's just like, I didn't know what was going to happen, but it's been fun to like Yeah, just to like see what happens now. Like now I'm just letting the boat go. Like I'm not even
Yeah.
trying to control the boat at this point. I'm like whatever island it happens to land on is like where it's gonna land, you
That's
know.
it.
But
That's it. You casted the
yeah,
sail and you got the sail and the sail is doing its job. So wherever
yeah,
the wind blows that sail, that's where the boat is supposed to go.
yeah,
I dig it, man. I dig it. Absolutely.
yeah,
Absolutely. That's what's up. That's what's up. Okay. Okay.
yeah.
Well, mm, I tell you, the one thing that's in common between a year ago versus now, I'm still not a millionaire. So there's that.
Yeah, you're
but
right.
I will say it goes without saying is that the number one thing that I love and absolutely am just crazy about us just like actually because we have been friends since 2020. We did not discover that we had that commonality in regards to the sibling
Yeah,
dynamics and the fact that we're the oldest sibling of a sibling with special needs
yeah,
until what, like a year ago? Like literally, like you
yeah,
know what I'm saying?
yeah. It
Like
took 3 years
it
to
was
get to that point.
yeah, and
Yeah,
this whole time we've just been trolling online, being friends,
yeah,
and doing like cheesy Hallmark movies together, like
yeah,
having our things. And it was like,
yeah,
wait, did we just become best friends? Like,
yeah,
yes.
yeah.
And I have to say that I am thankful for that because, well, there was a few things that opened up the door with that. One, I felt seen.
Mm.
Like I felt really seen for the first time. You know, outside of like the validation that I've always received through
Hmm.
therapy. I
Yeah.
think that it's easy for somebody who doesn't understand your experience at all to say you're doing such a good job. Like I've
Uh,
had family members,
yeah.
I've had like tell me like you're doing a good job, and I'm like I appreciate that. I know it's all coming
Yeah.
from a good place, but
Yeah.
it was a special feeling to
Mm.
like share to you what I experienced growing up, and then you validating
Mm.
like yeah, it's okay. We were there together and it
Mm.
sucks. And yes, you're right. You should have been mad at your parents because they should have,
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
literally, like I
Yeah.
thank you. Okay, right. So you see this shit too. Okay. You know what I'm saying? So it's just like oh my God. And I would tell you because of the fact that, you know what I'm saying, you said, I am going to take this podcast to the next level. And you did use like that courage to cold call people and to
Yeah.
try to connect with people that
Would have
you
never
didn't
done
know
that
from
like
yes,
five
from a
years
can of
ago.
paint.
I would
Oh
never
my
done it.
God. But
Never.
because of
Yeah.
that, I
Yeah.
got to listen to stories of
Mm.
all like spectrums, and
Yeah.
it was so therapeutic in its own
Mm.
way because it was it was reassuring me that some of the emotions and the thoughts and the decisions that I went through, like it assured me that I went the right direction. I did the right thing. I protected him the right way, and
Yeah.
and also realizing, hearing other people go through life with this situation and realize that they don't have like a playbook and they're just winging
Yeah.
it. And then you're
Yep.
hearing that they're winging it because you're just thinking in your mind, I've got to be the only person winging it like this. Like there's got to
Mm.
be somebody that read this book that was like, this is what you should do as an older
Yeah.
sibling. Make sure that you have this environment set up. No. And so that was probably the most beautiful thing. And I will tell you, goodness, shout out to all of your past guests in the year
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
that was just beautiful. When I tell you, some of the experiences that have been shared on your podcast have been so raw and vulnerable that I know that them like, opening that door to the world because anybody can listen to
Mm.
the episode, them being like, feeling you create an environment for them to feel safe enough for that. It's just a beautiful thing. And it is also, it helps because if they weren't vulnerable like that, I wouldn't have
Mm.
heard those episodes and I wouldn't have been helped.
Mm.
And I think that the wrap up for me is also like just by growth in general of Anastasia and being like the best version of the big sister to this amazing
Yeah.
character of my story. And look, at the end of the day, realizing like he is the main character. Like what I'm saying, we're just all here. What I'm saying,
Yeah.
we're just trying to get a principal role. But Yeah. So yeah, that is where I'm at. It's been a year, but it's been beautiful.
Yeah.
Because it's been growth for sure. For sure.
Yeah.
So yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's exciting. It's yeah, there's always, I feel like we talk about that forever, but that's
Mm-hmm.
listen to more episodes of the podcast coming. That's what I'll
Mm-hmm.
say. And I guess just to be consistent with anything, which you've given words of encouragement before.
Right.
But do you have any I don't, what's the I had a
The
brain
drop
fart. I was literally
any
gonna say
gems.
yeah. Yeah, there we
You
go,
got
Jim. I literally my brain just
just
stopped straight
I
up.
understand. I understand. We get
Yeah.
older, girl. Like,
I
so we
know.
literally could be a mid sentence and this is like, what was
Yeah.
okay.
But you knew what I was thinking. So it's
I was going
good.
to say something important. I just don't. But yes,
Yeah.
what gems do I have to drop to our fellow listeners?
Yes.
I will tell you this. The biggest thing, and this is specifically for my peeps that are out here that are taking care of their siblings or their child or a family member that's close to them that has special needs. Give yourself a hug.
Yeah.
And when you
Yeah.
give yourself that hug, remember that there is no rule book and there is no actual way to do it right, wrong, and different. Like, you just have to just trust that every time you make a decision, every time that you make a choice for this person that is dear to you, that you're doing it in their favor. And if you go through your experience with being in their life like that, whether they're able to ever articulate it to you, they appreciate you. They love you. I know that sometimes when you do have that loved one, especially if it's your sibling that has special needs, sometimes we're not fortunate enough to even get them to articulate that they love us back. And that can be hard because you want to just, if anything, not so much my biggest thing is always like, I hope you know how much I care about you. Like, I hope you know that I would give you the world, my heart, if I could. And, I think that the universe has a beautiful way of sometimes showing you that even if you are in a situation where you have a family member, a sibling that is nonverbal, they'll find a way to show you.
Yeah.
And they love and appreciate you. And don't take those for granted. You know what I'm saying? And it's a beautiful thing. And also, you know what I'm saying? Be kind to yourself.
Yeah.
Be kind. Because when we take on a responsibility of taking care of ourselves and someone else, we tend to not be kind to ourselves because we store all that kindness for them, all that patience for them. But you need it too.
Yeah.
My timer. But yeah. I am glad of what you have done. I'm excited to see what this next year looks like because you have really opened the door for some amazing conversations and you have created a space for people like myself to know that, oh my God, okay, I can keep going. This is like, you know what I'm saying? I can see what I need to do and I'm going to do it. Okay. I like this. So yes. So big ups to Charlene.
Aww. Thanks.
Yes.
Thank you, Anastasia, for being here. Everyone go give yourself a hug and see you next time.
Yay. Thanks, guys.
Thanks for listening to the Special Needs Sibling Podcast. I hope you had a good time listening and feel encouraged in your own journey as a sibling to someone with special needs. If you liked this episode, please share it with your friends. And if you want to hear more stories, please subscribe to the show. You can find us wherever you listen to podcasts. Also, the show can't happen without you. All special needs siblings have their own unique stories, challenges, family dynamics, and lots of life to talk about and explore. This podcast is here to let you know that you're not alone and that you matter. If you would like to be on the show or just chat off the record, please contact me. My info is in the show notes. Until next time, this is the Special Needs Sibling Podcast.